Good. On time as always. And if you're not on time, because this is pre-recorded anyway, shame on you! Shame on your fancy helmet! Shame on your ghost! Shame on your Darcy! Actually, that's not fair to Darcy. She's a nice lady gun. Well, anyway, hello, class. Today I wanted to look into a Warlock that had a very great deal to do with my overall concepts of, well, Warlockhood, I suppose. The man in question is Ulan-tan, and if you're not familiar with him, then you've either bashed your skull against too many walls, or you've simply forgotten which end of the arrow goes to the creature you're fighting. I'll give you a hint. The pointy end. Ulan-tan is often credited for his research into the dichotomy of the universe, the existence of both light and dark being a bit more symbiotic than we may want to believe. His thoughts stem from the understandings that one cannot exist without the other, and in a tower filled with those that are far from able to think of their own free accord, thanks to the controlling habits of one masked individual, oftentimes Ulan-tan's teachings are shoved to the side as being ones that are near heretical. Perhaps I'm being a bit too salty, as the kids might say. My apologies. When I was first introduced to Ulan-tan, I had thought him a slight madman. He discussed the similarities of light and dark, but more how each could not exist without the other. Obviously, to a city and civilization that fears the darkness, and with good reason, these ideas were met with general disdain and adamance. I can remember some of the worst instances where riots would happen outside of the Symmetry's faction house, there to voice their opinions of trying to stop the thoughts and findings of one man, one warlock, that thought for a minute number of us. Yes, the Symmetry, the faction that Ulan-tan is widely known for, one that I would support wholeheartedly if it were here in the high walls of the city to do so, but instead I'm given three choices of whom the consensus thinks is worth supporting. Open thinking, my shiny metal exo butt. The Symmetry was felt too dangerous for admission into the consensus, even after Ulan-tan's death. This opening allowed for the future war cult to be admitted after the Battle of Twilight Gap, but some arguments have been made whether this time period is accurate or not. Regardless of that, however, we're worried about the man and his contributions, not about when his faction was denied access to the tower. Not all of humanity can make proper decisions, after all. In either event, it's most likely best to read over some of the most important pieces of Ulan-tan's findings. This, after all, gives you a better idea of what he had thought of over his time alive.
Therefore, if light connects across space and time, what is the void? What role does the vacuum, the absence, play? What stops the darkness from entering into the places between the stars? The answer is simple. The void is just another type of light. The Sunsinger is proof that the light is everywhere. The wings of radiance allow a guardian to fly beyond the veil. What further proof do you need, Speaker?
The Speaker. Yes, I almost forgot about that charlatan, that thief of ideas and identity when it best suited him. You see, one of the first ways I heard about Ulan-tan came from my ghost, and later on Ikora. My ghost had erroneously quoted the Speaker as being the one for claiming connection of light across all sources of space and time, but when I had questioned Ikora about this, I was given the truth. It was, in fact, Ulan-tan whom had started these theories and ideas, which we now know are fact. After one of the first expeditions back onto the moon not many years back, we know from a mission codenamed Chamber of Night that the Hive were running experiments on the Traveler. Ulan-tan's thesis was proven accurate with the uncovering of this. A shard of the Traveler, coated in darkness, seeping the shard and, more accurately, the Traveler of its light. After this, the Traveler started to heal, or so we were able to observe, while the shattering of the heart of the Black Garden helped it along as well. Still, the heart was a catalyst, something that caused a bit too much darkness within our system for the Traveler. The Hive, however, were actively draining its light. And so the Hive fed on the Traveler's light, attacking directly at what it seemed they wanted. And had the Speaker listened to those earlier on, to those that suggested the shard was on the moon, to those that had thoughts of how light and dark serve each other, of how light was linked over space no matter how much the gap. Hell, who knows if Gaul would have even been able to overtake us. Who knows if the Traveler would have been awakened years ago, able to protect itself and us even further. Still, I digress. It's very easy to turn what could have been onto others, as most don't know Ulan-tan as a person, but rather a set of ideas. His burial ring shows an interesting scene, one that seems to indicate the tower with the Traveler overhead or more within the center of the ring, with the opening over the top of the Traveler, allowing light to link wherever it may need to, able to spread out amongst the system, while on either side are the walls of the city that we so covet. Ulan-tan never truly had his ideas come to fruition, most of the thoughts that he had being hidden or shunned by those that feared him. On his final days on this world, leaving to Io for one last time to remain there, and why the Grove of Ulan-tan is noted to this day as his, he left us with one final question and a statement.
I propose a simple experiment. Look around. You see light. You see darkness. There could not be one without the other. They are two sides of the same coin. If it is true for these Newtonian echoes, why would it not be true of the purest paracausal forms? Therefore, I conclude, the reason you persecute me is not because of the symmetry. It's because of the truth beyond this truth, the truth which you most dread. If we could destroy darkness, but we had to give up our light to do so, how many of us would make that trade?
Each of us must make that decision on our own. We each must understand what it is we need to give up in order to make a larger leap in understanding, to allow us all to prosper and grow, or perhaps for the universe to grow even further. I am at a loss for how I can disprove such a great mind, one that has proven time and again, even in death, that their ideas have more meaning to them than that of minds held higher within our society today, like the Speaker. Here, the Traveler hangs overhead, but doesn't say a word. We never needed a Speaker to tell us the ideas of the light and what they required of us in the universe. It just required men like Ulan-tan to peel away the layers for all of us to understand. My thoughts on Ulan-tan's theories are only a primer. They are only able to give you an idea of the man, his works, and the corruption that we saw within the city over the past several years, even since its possible inception. The rest is for you to think on and understand, to further your own hypothesis or create new ones. Still, I hope this helped you understand one of the greatest minds this universe had to offer. We don't know what else his theories and ideas could have offered us as time went by. After all, Ulan-tan was the one that predicted the nightfall, the darkest layers that threaten our galaxy.
Do you see the stars flutter? Now listen. They scream from the lacerations of our enemies. The balance has been threatened. Nightfall is upon us. This burden of light has never been heavier. We can sleep no more.
No more are we able to sleep. It is time to act. It is the greatest call to arms we can have as those that are embroiled in academia. There are several other important Warlock minds that are worth noting and speaking on. We'll be looking into them next. Their thoughts and ideas discuss and theorize more of the darkness and how we, as Guardians, even exist. I hope you'll join me soon for those lessons. Still, don't forget to subscribe to the Ghost feed for these lessons, and send feedback to Ikora in the comments below. Hopefully she won't be able to track me down too quickly, but one day she might remember the need to explore the past as much as the present. Until next time, my fellow scholars, take care.